Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we are 1 month. 1 month today I created my DIY palette, my first DIY palette that I've ever made on camera, off camera, ever, and I was really proud of it, and I really love the colour story. If you haven't seen that video of me creating my first DIY palette, I'll link it up in the eye. I really want to make this a thing. I'm thinking maybe once a month, maybe every 6 weeks roughly. I want to create a colour story for me to really focus on. I'm currently doing Project Pan. I'll also link that playlist up in the eye as well, and I've got a full face of Project Pan on today. The reason I want to do DIY palettes and make them a little bit more of a thing, and taking inspiration from other palettes or inspiration just from my head, is that I don't have an eyeshadow palette in my Project Pan, and it's kind of like a really nice way for me to have fun with my makeup that's already existing. It's a nice way for me to not get bored of a colour story in my Project Pan, and I'm using my makeup, I'm feeling inspired, I get another video out of it for you guys to interact with me, and yeah, it's just like I just really love it. I thought it was really great fun. So today I thought 1 month on, I'm going to kind of retire this back into the collection and create a new colour story, so that will come soon. I'm going to create a new DIY palette. I wanted to kind of do a video of me summarising this, my thoughts and feelings, showing you all different looks that I created, and if you like this then I'll continue to do this like 1 month on from every single palette that I create, and just kind of give you my thoughts and feelings of it. And showing you looks. Like I said, I literally repeated myself 3 times. Love that for me. So yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, then please keep on watching. Like I said, I actually already have my full face makeup on. I'm currently wearing Project Pan makeup, so I will list it all in the description bar below, but if you want like the deets on all of these products that I've got on my face, if you care, then I actually have videos of the Project Pan and the products that I use and why I use them, etc. For example, the concealer I have on today, I do not like it, but I use it for filming purposes, to use it up and not waste it, you know? Today I think I want to apply the purples. I'm wearing like this plummy wine burgundy top, so I think I want to play around with the purples and do like a halo eye, so I think I'm going to do that. Instead of this being like a tutorial, I think I might just, you know, go ahead, talk about the palette and just apply eyeshadows. I'm applying this one to my eyes. So how have I got along with this palette? I've actually bloody loved this palette. I've learned a lot of things about this, and something I've learned is when I have a colour story that I have chosen, I literally wanted to use every single shade. There is not a single shade in here that I have not used, and that is quite rare for me. It's an 18 pan eyeshadow palette, and I have used every single shade. Of course, there's been shades that I've been using more than others, and it's been really nice to explore my collection from a singles point of view, in terms of looking at my collection instead of palettes that are already pre-made, having a look at it and going, oh, this specific shade was really nice, and then realising it came from the Natasha Denona Love palette that I don't pick up enough, you know? So it's been really nice to explore my collection from a different perspective. Another thing I learned from this palette is that it is actually extremely cool toned. Every single look I seem to get was pretty cool tones. Like even the greens, I thought they would look pretty warm, and you know, because they've got a couple of olive tones. Apart from like the actual olive tones themselves and possibly the gold, everything leaned very cool toned. I don't mind that. Maybe you could say it leaned a little bit neutral cool toned actually, but it wasn't as warm as I thought it was going to be. I have this lovely red here. Actually, it's very cool toned red. I thought it was going to be very warm tone. On my skin, it was like nice, but not really warm, you know? It was kind of interesting to explore that and to develop different looks after realising that. Also, I put in this black, which I think is Corrupt by Makeup Geek, Corrupt by Makeup Geek, RIP Makeup Geek. This is the most pigmented black I think I have ever used in my entire life. Oh my goodness. It's not just pigmented, but it's just like you can pick up the smallest amount on your brush and it just goes everywhere. I'll also just throw up the swatches if you want to see them. I'll swatch this palette out for you just to see what the palette looks like. And on the hand, it really doesn't look cool toned or neutral at all. It looks like it's got cool tones and warm tones, especially with those greens and reds and like that coppery sort of bronze shade. But honestly, on the eyes, it's just like tells a different story, and I'll show that to you in my looks in a minute. But I've been really enjoying mixing and matching reds, purples and greens. It's not actually a colour story I thought I would like as much, because it's not, I don't know, I just wouldn't put reds and greens and purples together typically. With a couple of supporting shades, I feel like it's really brought the palette together. So this one here, where is it? This one here is like this taupey purple, and this one's like a taupey bronze, but it also leaned into the purple, it leaned into the green, it linked into the red. So did this one. It linked very well into the red and the purple, not so much the green. This shade here linked in well with everything. This shade linked in well with everything, especially the reds and the greens. So I feel like I really had some lovely shades in here that just worked well with everything. And then the bright pops of colour, the purple, the green and the red, were really like the standalone shades in terms of like, oh, you want a red look today, oh, you want a green look today, oh, you want a purple look today. I actually didn't mix any of these mattes together in terms of the red and the purple or the green and the red. I didn't do that at all. I could have done, but like there's only so many eyeshadow looks you can do, and I really liked the range I got with this palette. I could get some real basic looks and some real dramatic looks. Especially for work, I threw this in the crease like all the time. This on the lid, this on the inner corner, this on the inner corner, this on the lid. This on the lid was great. Like this top row was just really great for throwing something on the eye and it just looking brilliant. This Cleona shadow was majestic, and I did that with a halo eye quite a few times. This palette was just really great, and honestly, if it wasn't made up of singles, I'd just keep it in my collection like this. But I'm gonna go into this shade here. I think part of the fun of this palette is actually not having it forever and actually only having it for a short period of time, because it will make you, or makes me, appreciate the colours a little bit more and appreciate the colour story in terms of having to play around a little bit more and get a variety of looks out of it. I think it would have been a real shame if I just stuck to like 1 or 2 looks and didn't explore every avenue of this palette. So yeah, let me go through some of the looks that I've done. I'm just going to keep putting this through the crease and blending this out because it's purple. I'm going to try and be very careful and not look like I'm going to have a punched eye. But one of the first looks that I did was actually a green look. So I took that really lovely Natasha Denona green and worked it through the crease. And actually, like you can see in the footage, I don't know why, but it came off really like cool tones and kind of khaki greyish green, and I wasn't expecting that. I feel like the matte yellow that I'm just putting on there as well, you can see I just kind of put it in the crease as well. It kind of helped warm it up a little bit because it had that yellow in it. But yeah, this was kind of like the start of the journey of realising that actually this whole palette wasn't as warm as I thought it was going to be. I really loved having the option of that kind of green from Makeup Geek, I think it's called. Venom. Yeah, it's called Venom. And then I had the Natasha Denona one next to it that I'm just going into now, which is called Shield. I'm just having a look at the shadows whilst you see this footage. It's called Shield, and I really liked having that option because I feel like it offered a little bit of goldiness to it. And then obviously I went into that Cleona shadow, which I'm going to try and pick out now for you whilst this video is playing. It is Cleona Foiling. You can really see the sparkle it had. So you can see then by the end of it, I'm actually starting to develop a little bit more of a warmer green look, but it's only warmer because of the goldness and that bright kind of warmth of the Cleona and the Natasha Denona shadows. I think it would have stayed very cool tone and very neutral if not. And the other 2 Natasha Denona singles that I just dipped back and forth with, I think it's Sparks. Sparks is that white one, and then it's Queen, that pearly pink one. I put that in the inner corner and brow bone, and yeah, I really liked how this looked in the end. But like you can see when I close my eyes slightly, it's very like cool toned, and I just really wasn't expecting that. But I really loved the look. I was really happy with this one. I'm just going to go into this cream shade here. This is Colourpop Locked and Loaded. And I'm just going to buff the edges of that shadow there. I'm now going to go into this one here, which is from Natasha Denona Circo Loco. That's the palette. I'm going to go into the shade Magic. And I'm going to take a really loose, fluffy brush, and I'm just going to kind of just place this through the crease again, just to add a little bit more vibrance so it's not too deep and smoky. Just literally in circular motions, just buffing that through. Let's talk about another look whilst I do this. So I spoke about those taupey shades and how they really lent themselves through a variety of shadows in the palette. You can see that I picked up that lovely warm brown. That's Natasha Denona, oh god, is it Log? No, what's it called? Natasha Denona Aria. And I really like this shade. It's very much like a bronzer shade, and I really appreciated that because it was helpful to pull a lot of looks together, apart from maybe the purples, but the greens and the reds, it was significant help. So that was really helpful. And then I went into the yellow again because, like I said, it's very close to my skin tone, so actually it was really helpful in trying to just soften the outside without having another shadow or another colour added to the crease. So that was really helpful as well. I then went into this taupey shade, which bloody hell, I bloody love this one. I didn't realise how much I loved it. I'm just trying to pick it out the palette now. It is Natasha Denona Jude. What a beautiful shade. This is like taupe with a really subtle purple undertone, and I really loved it with the purples, with the greens by itself, which is what I've done today all over the lid, and then that deep purple-ish plum brown shadow that I'm using on the outer corner is Natasha Denona Deep Dive. It's actually the shadow that I've got on my inner and outer corners today, and I really liked this one because again it pulled slightly purple, it pulled slightly brown, it pulled slightly red. It really was like great in lending itself to a variety of looks. So yeah, it was really quite easy to develop that. I then went into Natasha Denona Aerialist. Aerialist is such a magical shade, and I kind of wanted to combine that with Jude to create a bit more of a vibrant, bright look. If you didn't want the brightness, you could totally just use Jude, but I wanted Aerialist to add a little bit more of a silver purple pop and lean into it. But actually by the end, like you can see, it doesn't look purple at all. It does look very cool toned, it looks taupey, but if you look, you can actually see the purple undertone within that taupiness. So I really liked this. I wore this to work and I felt so great, and it went with a lot of outfit looks. So speaking of Aerialist, that is exactly the shade I want to go in today. I want to do a halo eye, so I want to pack this on my little flat shader brush and then I want to spray it just so it's really foiled and metallic. I really love this shade. It's so beautiful. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It is stunning. With the same brush, I'm going to go into this shade here, which is Shroud Pillow Talk. It's like a beautiful purple with sparkles in it. It's very deep. I'm just going to pick that up on literally the tip of the brush and just kind of merge that with the outer parts of the Aerialist shade. And I want to just like pull it ever so slightly in to Aerialist. Not so much that it takes over, just ever so slightly pulling it in on both sides. And then at the moment it looks like a stripe, so I'm just going to go back into Aerialist and just pull back in from Pillow Talk. It's just like a back and forth process, and I just take the most minute amount of product each time just to take it back and forth and create a nice blend. So you can see the difference now. It's starting to look less like a stripe and more like a blended spotlight. Just whilst I repeat this on the other eye, I'm just going to talk about another look that I did. So I really wanted to do like an all matte red look from this palette. So I went in with that crease shade and essentially I just wanted to try and see if I could make the warmest look I possibly could out of this palette, which wasn't actually as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I just really tried to build up that really nice like saddly brown shade that I forget the name of every single time. I'm going to flip it over. What's it called? What's it called? Aria. Every single time I forget. And then I basically pressed that red shade. It's from Natasha Denona. I'm going to try and flip it open now. It's called Vigor. I'm pretty sure... Actually, I don't know what palette that's from, you know. I actually don't know. But I went backwards and forwards between Aria and Vigor to kind of see if I could build up this beautiful, like just all red matte lid look. It was really difficult because the Vigor shadow is actually quite patchy, especially by itself. It was great blending, but all across the lid, it was not fun. And then I stupidly sprayed my brush to see if that would help, and it kind of made it worse. So I was just packing on, trying different things. And then I went into Sparks for the inner corner. I actually really liked this. It offered something really different and was quite like a bright pop and added a bit of gold. And I feel like those golden sparkles from Sparks really kind of added to that warmth that I was looking for. And I did actually really like the look by the end of it. It was like when you can see really there, when I like close my eyes a little bit, you can see how patchy that red was. But to be honest with you, once you've got mascara on, are people really going to notice? Not really. I noticed, but it was just like a quick fling on the eyes for work day. You can kind of see where it's patchy, where I decided to spray my brush like an idiot. But yeah, lessons learned from that one. I probably was using the wrong brush and shouldn't have sprayed it, but it was like a nice all red look all the same. Just something very simple, basic. Literally took me like 5-6 minutes, so it was okay. I'm just going to tidy up the blend with this one here and just like put a tiny bit of that through the crease with a big fluffy brush, just to tidy the edges and the crease. Just to create a tiny bit more depth on the outer corner, I'm going with this tiny pencil brush and going to Corruption, can't remember, the black shade from Makeup Geek, and then like blend that out a little bit with this shade here and just kind of go in between these to really like the outer and inner corners, add a tiny bit more depth. this is so pigmented, this black, so I want to be really careful about it. But I just wanted to also show you a look I did with the top row exclusively. Like I said, this palette was very cool toned, so I really wanted to just try and make the most warm toned look I possibly could, and that was the only way I could do that, I thought, was through using like that brown shade all throughout the crease, and then using the red shade on the outer corner as like my depth. And actually this really worked. It felt very golden and red. It was just, I really liked this look actually, and I did it just before work, so it was really quick. I wanted to try and do a couple of quick looks using this palette. I didn't want it to be like a proper glam palette, and actually I found that it was very versatile. So I threw on the lid shade, which was let me pick it up and have a look. It was Silk. It was Silk. I think that's from the bronze palette if I'm not mistaken. And I used that all over the lid, and then I put a little bit of the kind of pearlescent shade called Queen. I'm literally rubbish at remembering the shade names, aren't I just? I put Queen all over the kind of inner corner, and then I used Sparks a little bit just to intensify it, and I really liked how this looked. It was like a very sunset blushy kind of golden vibe, and I really liked it. Really liked it indeed. So yeah, this was a really easy look, and it was one of those where I was like, this is great because I could just throw in a couple of shades and it's very reliable. So I've just applied, whilst I was talking that through, like I said, I just applied these two shades. Can you just see the extra depth that offers the look, and just that touch of black on the inner and outer corner? It just adds a tiny bit extra to it and makes it look a little bit more va-va-voom. So I'm just going to go off camera, repeat that on the other side. We'll do the lower lash line, possibly inner corner, and then we will conclude this up. For the lower lash line, I'm just going to go into this shade here and just kind of sweep that on the entirety of the lower lash line here. For the inner corner, I'm going to take another little fluffy brush, and I was kind of deciding between Sparks and Queen. I think I'm going to go for Queen because it's a little bit more neutral. Sparks, although it's more sparkly, is a bit more gold, and I don't want it to pull gold, whereas Queen has that pink undertone. So I'm going to go into Queen with my little fluffy pencil brush, and I'm actually going to spray this and just plop it right there. Because it's a halo eye, I don't want to drag it into the inner corner too much. I just want to keep it on the, literally the tear duct. I'm going to just take the remaining amount of that on my brush, like literally not adding any more, just rotating the brush around. Cute. Okay, I'm going to add some mascara and then I'll be back in a minute. Okay, makeup all completed. I really like this. I feel like I could have done lashes with this look, but I'm literally going over to my sofa for the evening, so no, it's a no from me, fam. It's a no from me. All my makeup that I am wearing on my face will be listed in the description bar down below. Like I said, it's all Project Pan, so if you did want to go check that out, it's already linked up in the eye, so if you want to go check that out, please do. What do I honestly think about this palette as a conclusion? I bloody love it. I think it's very evident that I really love this. I really loved the experience of making a palette, and I'm definitely doing it again. If you're excited about that, then please tell me in the comments below if you're excited about making new palettes. Have you ever made a DIY palette? Have you ever done this yourself? I think just as a final hurrah, what I might do is I will show you the swatches again, but I'm gonna just show you shadow by shadow what all of these are, and actually just to keep it for myself as a future reference, even though it's all in the description bar down below of all the shadows I've used, I kind of just want to show you what they all are if you were intrigued. And maybe on the side I will have the swatches on the left hand side. Perhaps I'll split the screen and I can just pick them up and show you, and yeah, let's do that. So the first shadow is this beautiful red, and it is Natasha Denona Vigor. The next shadow is Natasha Denona Aria, which is that really neutral saddle brown. The next shadow is Natasha Denona Silk, and it's this really lovely like neutral bronzy shade. The next one is Natasha Denona Queen, and actually it is more of a pearly pinky metallic shade. It's pulling off a little bit more yellow on the camera for some reason, but it is a pinky undertoned peachy pearl shade, really pretty. The next one is Natasha Denona Sparks, and it's got like a clear base with gold and white glitters all running through it, and I don't mean un-eye safe glitters, I mean sparkles. Really beautiful. The circular green pan is Makeup Geek Venom. Unfortunately this is discontinued now because obviously Makeup Geek is no more, but it's just a beautiful metallic deep green. The next shade is Natasha Denona Shield, and this is like a beautiful olivey, bronzy, metallic shade. The next one is Cleona Cosmetics Foiling, and this is kind of like a golden green shade with bright golden reflex in and a hint of brown as the base. A greeny goldy brown. This beautiful khaki green is Natasha Denona Scrap, and it is just literally a matte khaki green. Next to that khaki green, there's this beautiful taupe shade that is by Natasha Denona, and it is the shade Noble. Really, really lovely with the greens and reds, really just nice and taupey brown. The circular yellow light shade is Colourpop Locked and Loaded, really, really lovely. The deep black is Makeup Geek Corrupt. The shade next to that is Natasha Denona Deep Dive, which is this deep plum brown, almost blackened plum brown. The metallic purple circle pan is by Shroud Cosmetics, and it is called Pillow Talk. The bright purple in the palette is Natasha Denona Magic. The silvery lavender shade, it is far more lavender in real life, I don't know why it's picking up so silver on camera, is Natasha Denona Aerialist, what I've got on the centre of my lid today. The matte plum shade is Natasha Denona Trust. And then finally the beautiful taupey purple shade is Natasha Denona Jude. This is really lovely. Similar to the Natasha Denona Noble, those were like the two slightly taupier shades in the palette, and yeah, they were both really, really nice. And that was the palette. I think I've talked it to a sorry death now, so I won't talk about it anymore. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed. Let me know down below, would you like to see more of these videos? Did you receive this well? Was this worth doing? Was it interesting? Was it nice just to sit back and let me talk about shadows for a little bit? You know, was it kind of cool looking at that? Let me know what your thoughts are down below, because if you don't like this, then I just won't do them, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Thumbs the video up if you have enjoyed. Talk to me down below, because I love talking to you guys. It's my favourite part about uploading. Subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell, because then you'll be notified of all the videos I upload. I upload 3 to 4 videos a week, roughly every other day. I work a full-time job, so I try to do it every other day. But yeah, 3 to 4 videos a week is usually what I go for. So hit the bell to be notified of any of those. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.